in order to validate input data, the form is created with input data and invoke which method here is valid method. So this method returns true if input data is valid. If input data is valid, it returns true. If input data is not valid, then it returns false. So form validations are done at different levels. That is field level validation, form level validation, and there is one attribute called validator. So this is also field level validation. And then I said what is a field level validation is. So field level validation is done within form by defining which method here, clean methods. So how you are writing it now, this is clean and it followed by the field name. This is okay naming convention which you have to use it. And then it is an instance method. And here you are writing a logic for validating the data. And there is one more called form level validation. And form level validation is done by validating multiple fields. So form level validation is done by overriding one method. So what is the name of the method is clean method of form class. So this is a clean method. If input data is valid, it returns clean data. So clean data is a dictionary which contains input data. Means when it is written this cleaned data means if the is valid is a true. So that you can use this valid data to perform certain operations. So the errors generated at form level or field level are stored in attribute called which one? Errors. Suppose if it is a field level error is form dot field name dot errors. If it is form level errors, you will use form dot non-field dot errors. So this may contain multiple errors. Okay, now you can see this is an example which I said. So when a client send a request, okay, you are sending a request to the view and view will receive this request. And then see, this is a form. And in this form, you input the data and this input data is given to what here? View. And view will receive this data and validate this data. If the data is valid, it performs certain operations. If the data is invalid, you are trying to generate the errors. So this is what you are trying to do it. So form is used for input and form is used for what here? Validating. Form is used for input and form is also used for what here? Validate. Okay. So this is an example what I said yesterday. So here I created employee form and this is inherit which class? Form class. And here I create some fields like number, employee name, job and seller. Now I created clean methods. Now clean employee name and there is a clean job and there is a method called clean. So these methods are called by clean method of which class? Super class. That's the reason whenever you override clean method, you should call the clean method of which class? Super class. Okay, suppose first it look for the clean method in subclass. If it is not available, then it call the clean method of superclass. And the clean method of superclass calls all these clean methods. Who will call these clean methods? The clean method of which class? Superclass. Okay, right? So this is that's the reason you write here super dot clean. Means what it is written cleaned data. This variable name can many things. Okay, but it written dictionary, and from that dictionary you are reading employee number and seller. Okay, so if the employee number is less than 0, you are generating validation error. If the salary is less than or equal to 0, again you are generating which error? Validation error. Yeah. So generally, see if it is form level also, you check all the fields. Okay. So generally what will happen when input When you input data within the form, it will generate at a time only one error. Okay. It doesn't generate multiple errors. If you want multiple errors, you write one condition and generate one error with all messages. Understood? So it is always recommended to use field level validation because modifying logic becomes what? Easy. Hang on. Suppose I want to do some changes in validation of job. Then I can do changes only in what? Job. It means without doing any changes in other logic. So maintaining the things becomes what here? Easy. Okay, right? So this is how it is a form is. And after that, now yesterday somebody is asking, like where is the cursor is moving? Cursor. See the flow of execution you should understand. Flow of execution of Django application, already I said in the beginning. Okay. Whenever you type the URL, whenever you type the URL, okay, type the URL and so this is your server. And when you write EMP view, so here when you press enter, say this is browser. Browser is nothing but what here? Client. This is a client. This is a client and this is what here? Server. Okay. This is a client and this is a server. Client to server. Who's a client here? Browser. Client is nothing but a browser here. Okay, when you press enter, what browser will do? What browser will do? It will establish connection to what? Server. It will establish connection to a server. So how it is establishing connection to a server? Are you given address or not? Yes. This is localhost. And what is your server IP address is 8080. So it will establish connection to the server by using sockets. You learn sockets, right? Networking socket. So by using a socket, no, then learn in Python. In Python, you have a syllabus, right? Networking. Hey, nahi, nahi, hai. No, you have not learned networking. Networking topic you have not learned. Learned or not learned? Learned. You have to learn in Python. Completed Python, huh? Completed Python. Sockets. Then भूल गया क्या? Huh? Not covered. Okay, no problem. Then you should ask your faculty because it is a part of your subject, right? Yes or no? We learned, we have learned, right? Okay. That is what uh, TCP sockets. अंकित तो पहले नो बोला बाद में यस बोल रहा क्या सीखे भी नहीं मालूम पर एक एक तोप है what you learn you don't know what you learn you don't know and you want everything internal mechanisms what here so okay as a part of your course you learn networking right अभी कहाँ पे ढूंढना फिर yours is whose batch here Whose batch? Which faculty? Yours. KVR. Very good. Right? Hmm. Yes. But he'll criticize so many faculties, but he'll not tell anything. Understood? Huh? He'll criticize so many faculties. He'll think that he is a inventor of Python. Huh? Yes. Yes or no? I should not tell like that. But I'm telling you. Because most of the students said to me, and they said, I don't like that. Yes or no? मैं कुछ बोला अभी तक कुछ स्टार्टिंग से डिड आई सेड एनीथिंग अबाउट एनी yes or no? Uh, but day one onwards, from day one onwards, you just observe. From day one onwards, always he'll criticize all the people, even Java faculty also. Even he'll tell about Java, he'll tell about your lecturers, college lecturers also. So I'm also a student of one lecturer only, right? Lecturers, they are PhDs here. They have very good knowledge. You don't learn. That is your problem, not lecturer's problem. Yes or no? Guru to guru hi hai. Lecturers will teach or not teach? Teach. Because at that stage, you are not able in a position to learn. After completing, you start realizing. Because they have some boundaries, right? They'll teach only this. They cannot go beyond it, right? And lecturers, they are not real-time employees, right? Real-time means they don't work in software development. Yes, sir. They worked in development. No. Then they know only the syllabus. Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4. Whatever there in the books, they'll teach. They cannot go beyond it, right? So you should not do like that. Everyone is having their own this thing. Huh? But I should not criticize. That is, I don't know. Some people like अभी क्रिटिसाइज करे तो थोड़े लोग हंसते थोड़े लोग को पसंद नहीं आता understood you understood what I'm saying so here I'm there in Amirpet for how many years here 22 years in Naresh IT 21 years Naresh IT 21 years Naresh IT only कौन पहले है मैं पहला है कौन बाद में है understood then everyone I know it अमीरपेट में पूरे फैकल्टीज क्या क्या करते क्या everything I know it but अपना काम देख लेना बस उतना है और इनके काम में नहीं लगाना समझ में लिए हाँ so you have to do your job you are a worthy tell the subject you are a worthy tell the subject yes or no you have a worth then tell the subject not yes yes okay that is a big सुबह सुबह दिमाग खराब हो जाता है यार क्यों अभी फ्रेश माइंड है आप started with fresh mind right okay anyway this is how it is so you can move it this is how it is done so these clean methods are called by clean method of super class it is called by clean method of which class super class okay super class now for what is the super class for this form class form like how it will search for the methods. So there is one rule is there, no? Okay, what is a rule? What is a rule which is used for searching methods? How it will search the methods? Like you learn in method overriding, right? What is MRO? MRO stands for what is MRO here? MRO stands for method resolution order. Yes or no? How how object search? Whenever you invoke the method on object, how your Python virtual machine search for the method within the class? Always the first preference is given to subclass. Then it will search in what? Superclass. Method resolution order. When you go for multiple inheritance, you should know it, how it is searching it. How can you find the method resolution order? By using one attribute. What is the name of the attribute? Underscore underscore MRO underscore underscore. That will return method resolution order. Understood? Okay. So here first it will look for the method in which class? Subclass. If it is not there in the subclass, then it will call the method of which class? Superclass. But always first it will call which method? Clean method. So that clean method should be called here. See here. Clean method is called here. Yes. If we don't call this clean method, then this data is written or not written? Not written. It doesn't written. Okay, it means you cannot able to do validation of employee number and employee name. Okay. So then next is this is how you are trying to do it. Okay. So what I said is like this is a flow. What is a flow is now browser is a client program. Browser is a client program and this is which program? Server program. This is a client program and this is what? Server program. How client server communication is done by creating sockets. Now client create a socket and establish connection to what? Server. Okay, establish connection to a server. Now this is establish connection. Establish. What it establish here? Connection. It establish connection to what here? Server. This is your server or not? Yes. Inside the server, you deploy the application. Deploying. What is the meaning of deploying? Installing. Deploying is nothing but installing. Deployment. Or you deploy your application means you should know it like are you installed your application or not. So deployment is a process of installing the application within the server. It means you are making your application available to all the people or not. Yes. So where you are installing your application within the server. That is what you are doing at Python manage.py. When I say run server, what it runs? Server. But it runs the server by installing all the apps. It will run the server by installing all the apps. How many apps are there? Whatever apps you define in settings.py. Whatever applications you define in settings.py, it will install all the applications into the server. Suppose you build application, but you don't configure in settings.py. It means is it that application is available to the client? No. It is not available to what? Client. So compulsory you have to install, means you have to deploy the application. Okay. Because of that, you are trying to configure in settings.py. In settings.py, you define the install apps. Getting on that? Okay. Now it means your application is installed or not? Yes. By just writing application, it is not available to the server. Okay. In order to execute your application by the server, the application must be installed within the server. If application is not installed within the server, that application is not available to what? Users. It cannot called by the browser. You cannot call from browser, or it cannot call from any other application. No. So whenever you say run server, don't think that it just run the server. What run server is doing first, when you say python manage.py run server, what is manage.py is command line utility. Command line utility, and you are sending one argument. That argument you call it as command line argument. So what python manage.py is doing, it is receiving one command. What is the command it is receiving? Run server. Then I should run the server or not? Yes. Server is another program. I should run the server. Okay, I should run the server. But when it run the server, at the time of running the server, okay, what it will do, it will try to execute one program. What is that program? Settings.py. In settings.py is called which module? Project configuration module. It is called which module? Project configuration module. So whatever configuration is there in settings.py, it will execute all the statements. So is it one program or not? Yes, it is one program. Settings.py is one program. It execute all the statements exist within that program. It means it is configuring installed applications, it is configuring middleware, it is configuring templates, it is configuring database. All this configuration is done before during the installation of what application. If any error is there, your server will run successfully. No, your server will not run success. Your server will run, but your application is not deployed. Server will run, but your application is not deployed successfully. That's the reason you'll get the error set which side? Server side. That's the reason you'll get the error set which side? Server side. Okay. It will establish connection to the server, and after establishing, how it will establish connection means, I said no, it uses socket. So client socket connects to which socket? Server socket. After establishing connection to the server, what your browser will do? Browser will prepare. What it will prepare? HTTP request. Because you are sending a request using which protocol? HTTP. Then it will prepare what? HTTP request. What is the request is? Input. What is the meaning of request is? Input. Whatever input. Input means you are giving some input to the server or not? Yes. What you are requesting for? What you are requesting for? EMP view. You are giving input to which view? EMP view. You are giving a request to which view? EMP view. You press enter. When you press enter, it will prepare HTTP request and send to what? Server. So what is the request? What is the default request method is get. So what server is doing? What server is doing? It is receiving this request. What is the request is? Input. You are giving input to which URL? EMP view. So what server will do? It will read the requested URL. You are giving input to which view? It will read that requested URL. And where it will search for this URL? Where it will search for this URL? In URL configuration file. What is that URL configuration file? URLs.py. Yes or no? URLs.py. If given URL is valid, then it will send a request to that URL. If the given URL is invalid, then it raises error. That's it. It raises error. Errors is again response or not? Yes. If it is view is exists, then it will send a request to the view. Now your server is creating one object. Which object it is creating? Request object. What is the request object is? HTTP. Bola yaar my. I said already. Now HTTP request object. And this HTTP request object is given to what? This HTTP request object is given to view. It is given to the view. So there is a view. What is a view is? EMP view. And after receiving the request, it is processing it. Getting on it, it will process it and generate what? Response. By including template, it generate the response by communicating with what? Model. Yes or no? So who is the responsible in communicating with the template and model is view, because view acts as a controller which control the execution of which application? Web application. View is an entry point. View is a entry point. Okay, whenever, whatever you want, you should send a request to whom? View only. Whatever you want it, you have to send a request to view only. Ring or not. Whatever you wanted, you send a request to view only. Okay. Now that is how it is done. Okay. This is a flow. Flow means not function from one control, go to another function and return. Same. Who's a caller? The caller is who's a caller is server. Server calling view, and after processing it returns to what? Server. Server will prepare what? HTTP response and send it to browser and then close the connection. Understood? So this is already I said in the beginning, flow of execution of your web application. Flow of execution of your web application. I said in the beginning. I said already in the beginning. Now let us talk about, okay. So checking the field level validations by using third one is there. And what is the third one is validators. So there is an attribute called which one? Validator attribute provided by whom? Form field. This is called as field level validation only. Now if you see this, suppose assume that now this is a forms.py. In forms.py, now suppose in this you have employee number, employee name, job, salary. Okay. For example, job is there. Okay, now I write it here which method? Clean method. I write a clean method, but instead of writing a clean method, who called the clean method? The clean job method is called by which method? Clean method. Okay, and this called the clean method of which class? Super class. This called the clean method of super class that returns the cleaned data. That return the cleaned data. Okay, now instead of writing a clean method, I write a method. I write a method or function. I write a function. But generally, whatever you write inside a class is called as which one? Method. Whatever you write inside a class, it is called as what? Method. Any function you write inside a class is called method. What is the difference between function and method? Bolo yaar, what is the difference between function and method? क्या हुआ? What is the difference between function and method? बोलो यार. Function is outside class. Okay. Then next, method is inside class. Method contains class variables. Uh, Method defined inside class. Function is defined outside class. खत्म. जवाब आ जाता? आता? ऐसा बोले तो आता? आता नहीं आता? नहीं आता. हाँ. मेथड फंक्शन दो एक ही है यार. What is a method is a function only. Method is what? Function. Bind with the class. Bind with what? Class bind with the object. But function bind with anything? No, that's all. ज्यादा नहीं सोचना. So method को कॉल करने के लिए you required either class or object. But function call करने के लिए you required anything? No. You call function directly. Is independent, right? But method is bind with either class or object. If it is class level, then bind with what? Class. If it is object level, bind with what? Object. But function is bind with anything? No. Understood? Right? So validator can be a function. A validator can be either function or a validator can be what? Method. Getting or not? So that validator can be there inside the class, or that validator can be there what? Outside the class. It can be there inside the class or it can be there in what? Outside the class. Outside the class. Outside the class means now here I am writing one function. Okay, method is also a function, but it is bind with the class or object. Method is also a function, it is bind with either class or object, right? So definition. So you are saying definition DEF, right? Then here I want to check whether job is valid or not. So is valid, is valid job. Okay. And this will receive what here? Job. What it is receiving here? Job. So it will receive the job, and if the job is valid, then it returns. It returns a job. If the job is not valid, then it raises what? Error. But see here, this is there within the class or outside? Outside. If you want, you can write within the class also. You can write this function within the class also as a static method. As a static method. Static is what? Individual. Okay, global. If you want to define any global, then you define that as a global using what? Static. Right? So is valid job. Is valid job. Now here you are checking if job not in, if job not in, you check here manager, manager, what is this here? Clerk and HR. So if it is not in this, you are saying rise. So forms dot, what is that error is? Validation error. Validation error. Okay. Now this is a process of what? What is validation error is? What is a validation error is? Predefine, predefine, predefine what? Error class. It is predefine error class. Every error is what? Class. Every error is one type. Every error is a class. Every error is what? Type. Value error, type error. When you are working with, okay, when you are working with functions like integer, integer of within double quotes 1.5, what will happen? Error. It will generate which error? Value error. Who generating value error? Who generating value error? Integer function. This integer function is generating which error? Value error. What is value error is? Type. What is value error is? Type. Is it error class or not? Yes. So generating error is nothing but, what is meaning of generating error? What is the meaning of generating error? Generating error is nothing but creating object of what? Error class. You are creating object of which class? Error class. Here, this is error class or not? Yes. You are creating object of which class? Error class. This is creating object only, right? How you create object? Class name followed by parenthesis. How you create object of class? How you create object of any class? Class employee or class alpha. What is the name of the class is? Alpha. How can you create object of a class alpha? Alpha. Open the parenthesis or not? Yes. This is creating object of which class? Alpha class. You are creating object of which class? Validation error class. You are creating object of which class? Validation error class. And to this class, to this object, whenever you create an object, your object is created by invoking constructor. And to the constructor, are you sending a message or not? Yes. Anyways, validation error is having constructor with parameters. Constructor with what? Parameter. So if you don't give it, then it writes the error without generating any error message. But you want to generate with error message, write it. Job must be, okay, job must be manager, job must be manager, clerk, or it can be what? HR. Now this function I should call it. But generally clean methods are called by whom? Clean method. But this is a clean method? No. It is a function which is verifying is it input job is correct or not. If it is a clean methods, then it is called by which methods? Clean methods. But is it this is a clean method? No. It is a function, right? Then how can I call this function? For that every field type is having one attribute, or property. Okay, it is having one property or attribute called which one? Validators. It is having which one? Validators, and you define either one validator or more than one validator. I said here validators, and what is a validator here? Is valid job. What is a validator here? Is valid job. And every validator should have at least one parameter. Every validator should have at least one parameter because it is receiving value and verifying is that that value is correct or not. Okay, it means whatever job I enter, that job is sent into which function? Is valid job. Then what is a validator says? Now I just give the function name, and what is the name of the function here? Is valid job. Is valid job is the name of the function. Now it is defined in list because you can check either one validation or more than one. Suppose job is correct, then you want to check one more validation. Now you can give the list of validators. So because of that, you are using what here? List. Here there is a list. Okay, what is the name of the validator function is valid job. Is valid job, and this function is called by sending which value? Job value. This parameter can be anything. Parameters are what is parameter? Tell me, what is parameter? Parameter is a, what is parameter? Local variable. Parameter is what? Local variable. Parameter is an identifier or not? Yes, it is a local variable. Is an identifier, and this identifier is predefined or user defined? User defined. Okay, it is user defined, it is not predefined. Okay, it is user defined, it is not predefined. I said this is what. Okay. Okay, please tell when clean is called. When you click on submit, किधर क्या रहते हैं यार आप लोग? When you click on submit, it will call clean method. When you click on submit, it will call the clean method. If you click on submit, clean method किधर है? Server में है, इधर है, browser में. Where is the clean method here? Server client? After input data, how many times here? कितने बार बोलना है यार? बोलो आप. You don't know the difference between client and server. पूरा ब्राउजर में ही हो जाता. ब्राउजर में क्या रहता है यार? ब्राउजर is a thin client. It will do the operation on behalf of client. It will do the operation on behalf of what? Client. कुछ नहीं रहता ब्राउजर में. कुछ नहीं रहता यार. कुछ रहता ब्राउजर में? रहता है यार. पार्सर रहता. HTML पार्सर रहता. जावास्क्रिप्ट इंजन रहता. हाँ, कुछ नहीं रहे तो नहीं बोलना। हाँ? मैं कुछ नहीं रहता बोले तो आप कुछ नहीं रहे बोला होता है क्या? हाँ? What content browser? Browser is having engine HTML. It will parse which one? HTML. Browser will parse what? HTML. Browser will parse which one? JavaScript. Huh? Browser will. Browser is intelligent. Even it can hold data also. What data? Cookies, history, browser history. History will be there. Huh? Whatever you visit, you find all the things in what? Browser is a program. Understood? Huh? So when you click on submit button, what will happen? सबमिट पे क्लिक करे तो किधर से सबमिट बोले तो सबमिट करना ना। क्या सबमिट कर रहे? फॉर्म को। किधर सबमिट कर रहे? सर्वर को। फिर सबमिट बोलो तो किधर सबमिट कर रहे? आप फॉर्म ले लिए, फिल कर दिए, सबमिट करना ना। ऑफिस में सबमिट करते, यहाँ पे किधर सबमिट करते? सर्वर को। सर्वर को, ऑफिस को गए, पर किसको सबमिट करते? बहुत लोग रहते हैं ना उसके अंदर। यू शुड सबमिट टू वन पर्सन, राइट? सर्वर में भी एप्लीकेशन में बहुत सारे व्यूज है। देन यू सबमिट योर डेटा टू विच व्यू? You have to give URL or not? Yes, address. Then whatever data you give, that data submit to that view. That view will take the data, right? After reading the data, how you check the validation? By storing that data again in which object? Form object. By storing that data again in which object? Form object. चिल्ला चिल्ला के बोला कल। हाँ? So request dot post. देखो, the data post data is stored in which object? Form object. The post data is stored in which object? Form object. Why you store this data in form object? To check the valid or not. Then you are saying form dot, what is that? Is valid. When I say is the form dot is valid, form dot is valid. Form object. This is which form object? Employee form object. See here, employee form object. This is employee form, right? In this, is it is valid method is there? देखो यार, you are calling which method? Is valid. Is valid method is there or not there? Not there. If it is not there in the subclass, it will search in which class? Super class. So is valid is a method of which class? Super class. Super class. And that is calling which method? Clean method. Who's calling the clean method? Is valid method of which class? Super class. Super class calls a clean method, and that clean method calls clean methods of which class? Subclass. Understood? पूरा सबमिट करे तो नहीं होता यार। सबमिट बोले तो टेक्निकल यू शुड नो इट। व्हेन यू क्लिक ऑन सबमिट, वही बोला था, it will send data. You are submitting to one view. You are submitting the data to the program which is there at which side? Server side. And that is checking, is it your input data is valid or not? If the input data is valid, then it will generate which page? Success page. If the input data is invalid, then is it display the same form or not? Yes. It is displaying the same form with what? Error messages. That is what we have seen in the last class. Okay, na? Who is this? Stravana. Stravanan. What is the name here? Saravan. So a lot of A's are there. Uh, you have a lot of A's. Pronunciation mistake. Okay, now come to this. Now this is which validation? Validating it by using which one? Validator. But this is field level validation or form level validation? Field level. This is not form level validation. This is what? Field level validation. Okay, right? Yes. Let me. Now every field attribute is having every field is having a property called which one? Validators. And validators is a list. Now, are you write a clean method, or are you using a inbuilt function, or user defined function? User defined function. It can be user defined function, or it can be what? Predefined function also. You want to check the validation using predefined function. Getting on it. Then you can also use which function here? Predefined function. But that function should have at least one parameter. That function should have at least one parameter. Okay. Yes. Now once this is done, now there is a validator. So every field attribute is having validator. Validator, what is this? Validator attribute. So this is an attribute in J field form. Okay, anything you can take. Okay. Now, so there will be a callables. Now you can see there is a inbuilt validators are there that will see. There is some inbuilt validators are there. Now this is here. What is the name of this is? Validators. And you can define either one validator or more than one validator. Either one validator or more than one validator. And that should be a callable. Callable means which one is callable? Function is callable. A method is callable. A function is callable and method is what? Callable. Okay, then now run this. Understood? Bolo here, see, we are not entering into our actual subject. You know, you know where we are in. We know how to learn a view. We have done how to work with a view, how to work with the model. But we learn only model. But are we use a model in our applications? No. We just done crude operations by writing, inserting, updating, deleting. So we are doing it all the things step by step. So first we learn how to work with the view. Then I said about how to communicate with the database. Then I said how to include the template in the view. How to work with the template. Templates are not over. Templates are not over. In template, there is lot of tags are there. In template, you have lot of tags. Understood? Views are not over. You can develop a views in two ways. One is function based and one more is what? Class based. What you are learning? Function based. You also have which views? Class based. Getting on not? First you have to understand the flow. How you view communicate with the model. How view communicate with what? Table. These things you should know it. Model. Template. These things you should know first. If you don't know these things, then rest of the things it will become difficult to understand. Understood? Right? So Python manage dot py run server. They go here. When you say run server, oh, so when you say run server, I think yesterday I was checking this MySQL is running or not. What is this? SQL Lite 3. Database is base directly slash some database. Any database name you can give, but here I've given database name is like this. Okay. Then run the server. Okay, now देखो here, when you run the server, देखना, you have to see in the server, when you see Django version and starting development server rate 127.0.0.1, yes. See here, Django version this using settings, project 17 dot settings. What is project 17? Is it your project? Is it your project or project name or not? Yes, project is nothing but a package. And within that, what is the name of the module is settings dot py. Message, is it using all the settings or not? Yes. Then once the settings are executed successfully, then you'll get this message. What is the message is starting development server at this IP address and this port number. And this is only development server, but it is not a production server. Okay? Yes. Then when you click on this, okay, now see here. It is saying that page not found. Now just send a request. Dekho here EMP view. When you type, when you press enter, this is called as what? URL. This is called URL. When you type URL and press enter, what will happen? It will send the request to which server? 8 8000. What is the port number? 800. Huh? Then where it is running in? 127.0.0.1. Getting or not? It is sending a request to this server. You can run every application on different port number. Getting or not? So all the applications you don't run on one. Suppose my system is having multiple projects. Then you run each project in different port number. Run each project with a different port number. Now this is a port number of my project. What is the project port number is 8000. What is this here? 8000. It is running in which system? 127.0.0.1. What will happen if you press enter? कहाँ पे press enter कर रहे हैं? Browser में. When you press enter, what browser is doing? Establishing connection to what? Server. Establishing connection to server and sending what? Request. You are sending a request to which view? EMP view. Then what server will identify requested URL and send a request? Then is it displayed the template or not? Yes. Enter the employee number. Enter the employee name. Enter the job. So job should be a manager, right? Enter manager and click on submit. Is it this data is valid or not? Yes. So you are submitting the data to the same view or different view? Same view. Because now if you want, you can write here in EMP template. In EMP template, is it action is there? Is it action? Suppose if I don't give the action here, if I don't give the action here, by default, it will submit the request to the same view. If you want, you can write the action. When the action is executed, tell me here, when the action is executed, when you click on submit button. When the action is executed, when you click on submit button, when you click on submit button, it execute which one? Action. And in action, are you define the URL or not? Yes. It means you are submitting this details to which view? This you are submitting these details to which view? EMP view. Again, it will send a request to what? EMP view. But this time, what is the request method is? Post. This time, what is the request method is? Post. If the request method is post, this data is post into which one? Form. So that I can check, is it this data is valid or invalid? Okay. Yes. Go back and give some wrong information and click on submit. So this is as no attribute validation errors. Uh, where is the mistake is forms dot py validation error. So yes, resubmit the form. You can see job must be manager, clerk, HR. Job must be manager, clerk, or what? HR. So this is user defined validator or predefined validator. User defined. See, this is user defined validator or predefined. User defined. This is user defined validator. Means you build your own validator function. You build your own validator function. Apart from that, Django forms also provide some predefined validators. It is also provide some predefined validators. So I think this is clearer. Bolo yaar. Huh? No, no, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So this is clean methods. You can write a clean method or you can also define your own validation. Okay. You can also define your own validation by using which one? Validators. And validator must be a callable. See, whenever you work with the Python technologies, it will provide multiple approaches. It will provide multiple approaches to do the same task. One task you can do in so many ways. For example, when you work with a list is there, right? How many ways can you create a list? You can create a list using square brackets. You can create a list using list function, list type. Yes or no? You can also create a list using list comprehension. List it means it is providing multiple approaches to do the same operation or not. Yes, but each one is used for a specific purpose. Now this is reusable. Is it this is reusable or not? Yes. It means once you write a validation function method means suppose if I write a clean method inside this class, this method is used only in this class. This method is used only in this class or not? Yes. If I write a clean method, that method is used only in this class. Suppose if there is another class in which I want to check the same validation, will you write the same code again or not? Yes. But to avoid that, what you can do, you can write individual function. And this function I can use either one time. This function I can use either one time or more than one time because clean is belongs to only one field, right? This clean is belongs to only one field. Suppose assume that job should be a manager, clerk, and HR, and job should be given in uppercase. Already we checked it, right? Is it this job should be job? Okay, assume that job should be a manager, clerk, or HR, and job should be entered in what alphabets. Job should be it should be alphabets, right? Manager, clerk, HR means only alphabets, but it should not contain some special characters. It should not contain digits. But already for name, are you checking same validation or not? Yes. Name, see here, clean name is there, right? Clean name. What is a clean name is doing? It is verifying is it employee name is alphabets or not. Even I want to check for the job. Is it job contain only alphabets or not? Can I use the same logic for the job? No, because this is belongs to which one? Employee name. This is belongs to which one? Employee name. But I want to write a function that can be used for the job as well as what? Employee name. I don't want to write it again and I don't want to write it again and again. I don't want to write it again and again. Then what I do it? I just write one separate function. See here. Here I am writing a function. I remove that clean method. I write a function. Functions are reusable. Methods also reusable, but that is within the class. Unless you don't inherit. Unless you don't inherit. How? Reusability, right? Inheritance provide what? Reusability, extensibility, right? Reusability as well as extensibility. Unless you don't inherit in other classes, is it that methods are used or not used? Not used. Not used, right? Then see here, is alpha. So I'm just writing one function. Is it contain alphabet or not? This receive one string. This will receive one string. Is alpha. It will receive one string and then verifies is it this string contain alphabets or not. If not is s dot is alpha. Is not s dot is alpha. S is what now? String. String is having a method called what? Is alpha. If not alpha, then what you are saying? Rise. Forms dot which error? Validation error. must contains only which one? Alphabets. Must contain only alphabets. Then this function I can use for how many fields? How many fields? Any number of fields. I can use this function with any number of fields. Suppose name is there. Here I am writing validator. Here I am writing validators. What is the name of the validator? Is what? Alpha. Is alpha. Here also I am writing is valid job and it should be is alpha. So how many validations you are checking? Two validations. It should be manager clerk and at the same time it should contain only alphabets. But this validator is used with how many fields? One field or more than one field? More than one field. Understood? So this avoid what? Redundancy. This avoid what? Redundancy means you don't require to write the same thing again and again. Same validation for multiple fields. Will you write it again and again? No. You write it how many times? One time as a function and use it how many times? Number of times. So that is a advantage of writing this validator function. Understood? बोलो यार अभी यस बोलते बाद में क्या हो रहा बोलते हैं हाँ यस और नो नो इसीलिए okay run the code so send a request emp view enter the number so enter the number name and there is a job and there is a salary submit data is valid or not yes Naresh 1 Naresh 1 2 3 then is it name is valid or invalid invalid must contain only alphabets. Okay, now suppose name Naresh is not there. Okay, then manager 1. Manager 1 and I click on submit. Job must be a manager clerk HR must contain only alphabets. Is it manager 1 is valid or invalid? Invalid. Then one more validation is what? It should contain only alphabets. Run this and click on submit. Data is what now? Valid. वैलिडेशन आप वैलिडेशन एरर चेक करें तो आप you when you check it Mohammed bhai when you verify it then it will check suppose if you enter space non-empty field required is there or not yes required means compulsory value is required okay if it is empty then it gives what error is it required is a predefined or user defined predefined required is not a user defined required is what predefined okay yes so these are which validators user defined validators so what I'm talking about is validators every field having an attribute called validators so each form field yes this is validators right so what you're learning is how to build a template and how to check the validations. Okay. But see, when it comes to the Django, you'll say most of the times it is used at what? Backend. Django is what? Backend. When you say backend required front end. Backend required what? Front end. Without front end, there is no backend. Understood? Okay, that's the reason you are using front end called template by using which you are communicating with what? Backend. Backend development is done in what? Django. Now Django is there. Suppose, assume that You want to use a front end as what? React JS. Can you use it? Yes. You can use React JS, you can use Angular JS. Okay, na? You can develop a beautiful front ends with the back end as what? Django. Understood? Right? We'll see that. How your React application communicate with the Django. Okay, that we'll see later. But first you try to fill React बोले तो लोग बोलते हैं हमारे को नहीं आता. Okay, फिर भी I'll try to explain you like how React application communicate with what? Backend. Okay, na? Right. So validators. Now each form field is having an attribute or property called each form field is having an attribute or property. Each form field, each form field is having an attribute, or property called, okay, called validators. What is that? Validators. So what is a validator? Is a function. What is validator? Validator is a function, which verify given data is valid or invalid. It verifies input data is valid or invalid. Now when it comes to the clean field, that is check only one validation. I mean, you can write multiple conditions, no problem, right? But validators. Validators are reusable. Validators are what? Reusable. Means once developed, once developed validator, once developed validator, it can be used with one field, one or more than one field, used with one or more than one field. Okay, once you build the validators. Okay, so validator must have at least one parameter. Validator function. Now again, when you see validators, now you find different types of validators. Okay, one is inbuilt validators, which are nothing but predefined validators, and second one is user defined validators. Okay, so what is a predefined validators? Predefined validators are inbuilt or what do you call it as library. Predefined validators are provided by django dot forms dot validators module. What is the name of the module? Validators module. Django dot core dot Django dot core dot. What is the name of the module? Is validators module, and this contain a lot of validators. Suppose minimum length validator, email validator. You don't require to write email validation. Email is having one pattern or not? Yes. Then you don't require to write a function or regular expression where you check is it this pattern is correct or not. You can use which validators? Inbuilt validators provided by which module? Validator module, or which one? Core package, right? So example is what is that? We'll talk about this also. Email validator. Okay, minimum length validator. There is what here? Maximum length validator. All these are callable. Means these are types. All these are types. All these are types. See, anything in Python, when you find anything starts with a capital letter, that is called as what? Anything. According to a naming conventions, anything starts with a capital letter, it is called class. It is called which one? Class. So can you say email validator is one class or not? Yes, it is one type. But class is callable. Is it class is callable? No, class is not a callable. If you want to make class as a callable, like a function, you want to call the object as a function, then you need to override one method called call. So all these are validator types. All these are what? Validator types. Okay, right. So these are predefined validators. Predefined validators are provided by django.core.validators. Apart from that, you build your own validators. But what is a validator is a function. What is a validator is a function or callable. I'm saying it as function or it is also called which one? Callable. Callable means which allows to call or invoke. That you can call it as which one? Callable. Exception also starts with the cap letter. Means every exception is what? Every error is what? Class. Every error is one class. Every error is one class. Okay. Error type is a class. And all the error types are inherited from which class? Exception. क्या बोल रहे थे? All the error types are inherited from which class? Exception class. What is the super class for all exceptions is? Exception. All errors is which one is super type? Exception. We have seen hierarchy, right? Okay, base exception. Exception, interrupt. I mean keyboard interrupts. Keyboard interrupts cannot be handled, but which one can handle? Exceptions can be handled. Yes or no? Yes. So predefined validators errors provided by django.core.validators. Apart from this, you can build your own errors. Validator functions. User defined. User defined validators are the functions are the validation function are the validation functions provided by whom? Programmer. Okay, so these are application specific, but these are generic. These are what here? Application specific, but these are what? Generic. Generic means it is used with one or more than one application, but these are used with only one application. But if you want, you can create a validator that can be generic, that can be used either in one application or more than one application. Okay, na? Right. So, what is the difference between a clean methods and checking the validation using clean method and validator is clean method is bind with clean method is bind with one type, one form. Clean method is bind with one form. Validator is bind with any number of forms. The same validation you want to check in multiple forms. Will you write the same code again and again? Huh? No. You write the code how many times? One time. Use it in how many forms? Multiple forms. That will provide reusability or not? Yes. समझ में आया? Right? So please try to understand this. This is about now how you define. It is a list. It is a list where you assign. It is a list where you assign multiple validators. Okay. Now these validators get executed one by one. These validators get executed one by one. See, I do changes only in forms. We'll see here. We'll see. Don't worry, Uday. We develop beautiful applications. Don't worry. We'll develop some beautiful applications in Django. Okay, this is nothing. See, he's asking how to verify or check user details with the database, whether user details are exist or not in the database. This is simple thing. Okay, don't worry about that. You develop complete web application. You develop some beautiful application by yourself. Understood? But you should have only thinking. Understood? But first you should understand what is a model, what is a template, What is a view? Because Django uses which architecture? MVT. MVT stands for model view template. Model represent database. View represents a function or a class which takes the input, generate output. View acts as a controller. View acts as a controller, right? And template is presentation. Okay, so every web application is having three layers: presentation layer, business logic layer, and persistent layer. Like if other languages you call it as MVC, model view controller, model view controller. But there controller is, here controller is view, but their view is, they're not this view. Their view is not this view. View means what you see is a template. Their view is what? Template. MVC में view क्या है? Template है. MVT में view क्या है? Controller है. So that confuse, you should not confuse it. Okay, so Java में I should not tell this. Okay, MVC है, ASP.NET. Okay, this is MVT. Okay, model view controller. View is template here. View is what here? Template. And what is that used here in Java is some JSP, Java Server Pages. In in .NET you'll be using which one? ASP, Active Server Pages, right? But here template is what? View. Here template is what? Here in MVC, here it is what? Template. Don't be confused. ये जरूरी नहीं है, ये जरूरी नहीं है, but even though I'm just comparing it. huh? So your view means not this view. View is in MVC, view is what? Template. In MVT, T is a template. And view is what? V is what here? Controller. But here C is what? Controller. Understood? Here C is a controller, but here V is what? Controller. I mean, confused होता है बोल के they have given some other name, but actually they should use same name because all the people are using same architecture, right? MVC, model view, and controller. But Django people, how? I mean, they think differently, and they said that it is what? MVT, model view template. So view acts as a controller here. Okay. Then next one is how to work with the predefined validators. But this is clear, right? What is say here? A pura aata fir. Now we are learning which one? Form. Next is what? Model form. What is the next one? Model form. Now this person is asking, no, how to check whether input data is valid or not. Input data is valid or not means you should communicate with what now? Model, and verifies is it this username, password, and all these valid or invalid. So that we'll see next class. Tomorrow we'll see how to work with the predefined validators. Not today, but we'll see tomorrow. Right? Thank you. We'll see tomorrow. आज को थोड़ा ही बोला. Okay. So please practice this. Okay. Yeah, I'll share it. I'll share here.